hope you're doing well. My name is Matthew, and I post videos every Monday and Friday. So if you love the tingles, then hit that subscribe button because you are in the right place. You join me in the early hours of Friday, the 5th of July. The UK has just voted in the general election, and the results are now slowly trickling through the night. According to exit polls, Labour has won by a landslide at 410 seats, as a guess, and gaining power from the Conservative Party, who, if the exit polls are correct, only gained 133 seats. I say gained, they lost 100. They only have 333 seats. The UK has, I think, around about 600 and something seats up for grabs. If you're not from the UK, a little bit of UK politics for you. And yeah, it's been an interesting race. I think most people in the UK can agree that they were all as bad as each other, and it was always going to be a bit of a disaster, whoever got in power. No offence to those who ran. I think everyone's just lost trust in everyone, and no one knows who to vote for. Obviously, people have voted, and this is kind of where we've got to. Anyway, lots can be said on that, I'm sure. But today's video, we are going to be looking at the case of Barry and Honey Sherman, who were tragically murdered. So let's delve into this case, shall we? So on the 15th of December 2017, a billionaire couple, Barry and Honey Sherman, were found murdered in their Toronto home. They were a wealthy billionaire couple, and they were found dead, hanging from belts from the railing of their indoor pool. The crime scene, though gruesome, lacked signs of a break-in, so naturally the Toronto police initially suggested it was a murder-suicide motive. But when the autopsy results came in, it became clear that the couple had been murdered. It says, to this day, no one knows who killed the Shermans. However, Barry Sherman was well known in Toronto as the founder of Apotex Incorporated, a major pharmaceutical company, and he reportedly made a lot of enemies through his business dealings. In 1967, Barry Sherman took over his uncle's drug company, Empire Laboratories, after his uncle died. He sold the company just a few years later to found Apotex, another pharmaceutical company. By 2017, Apotex had over 10,000 employees and a yearly revenue of $1.5 billion. They specialised in generic versions of brand name drugs, selling hundreds of products globally. Despite Apotex's success, Barry apparently led a fairly simple personal life. He married Honey Reich in 1971, and the couple had 4 children. Barry and Honey were known for their philanthropy, supporting various hospitals, universities, political campaigns, and community centres in Toronto. Notably, they donated a record $50 million to the United Jewish Appeal. They also sent over £50 million medicine to disaster zones through the Apotex Foundation. Through their charity work, the Shermans became influential figures in both politics and business. However, Barry's legacy had a darker side. Over the years, Apotex faced multiple lawsuits and controversies, including accusations of conspiring with other companies to artificially inflate the price of medications. What's more, Barry's close ties to the Liberal Party raised concerns of conflicts of interest. Shortly before the Shermans' death, the Federal Lobbying Commissioner launched an investigation into Barry over fundraising events he held for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Barry was also infamous for his habit of suing people for anyone he felt cheated him. This amounted to dozens of people earning the Shermans countless enemies in the process. This is something I find really interesting and doesn't make sense to me. So, in 2007, Barry Sherman was sued by his cousins, who claimed he didn't pay them for their share of the proceeds from the sale of Empire Laboratories, their father's pharmaceutical company. A legal battle ensued, with the cousins seeking 20% of Barry's interest in Apotex. Barry had reportedly offered his cousins millions of dollars in financial assistance after their parents died, but they alleged this was a tactic to make them dependent on him and keep them from understanding their rights to the business. In 2017, an Ontario Superior Court judge ruled against the cousins, ordering them to pay Barry $300,000 in legal costs. Kerry Windsor, one of Barry's cousins, expressed his anger at Barry in 2018 interview with the CBC, saying he wasn't the loving, kind person giving money away, pillar of the Jewish community. He cared about one thing: money, making lots of it, and not caring who he destroyed, who he'd stepped on, or who he effed over, like me and my brothers. Winter went on to admit to fantasizing about killing Barry, but denied any responsibility for his death. I was betrayed by my cousin. My cousin hurt me, and now I want to hurt him, Winter told the CBC in 2018. However, Winter claimed that years before Sherman's murders, he had ordered a hit on Honey's life at the request of Barry himself. I called him and said, "You know there's no turning back, Barry, if I push the button," Winter said. He claimed the plan was eventually called off. Now he believes Barry killed Honey and then himself in a murder-suicide. Winter and his lawyer agreed to a lie detector test to support his claims that Barry had instructed him to arrange the murder of his wife, but Winter failed the test. Following his lawyer's advice, Winter chose not to undergo another lie detector test regarding whether he was involved in the Shermans' deaths. The Shermans weren't naive to the possibility that someone would want to harm them. Barry himself once mentioned in an interview that he didn't think it would be difficult to hire someone to kill him, and perhaps that's precisely what has happened. 2017, Barry and Honey Sherman were planning to sell their house. Honey was also preparing for a vacation to Miami with Barry, scheduled to join her a week later. On the afternoon of the 13th of December 2017, the Shermans met with a builder in Barry's apothex office to discuss designs for the new home they were planning to build. Tragically, the meeting at apothex would be the last time they were seen alive. Upon returning home at 50 Old Colony Road that evening, Barry sent a routine email to his apothex team. His last correspondence with anyone the following day. He failed to show up at apothex, breaking his usual routine. Meanwhile, Honey Sherman made a brief call to a friend at 6:21 p.m. on December 13th. It was the last anyone heard from her. On the morning of the 15th of December, real estate agents arrived at the Shermans' home to show it to potential buyers. The Shermans were scheduled to be out of the house that morning, but they installed a lockbox so realtors could let themselves in for showings. But as the real estate agents led their clients down into the basement that day to view the indoor pool, they made a horrific discovery. They're hanging by their necks from the pool's railings, with their lifeless bodies hanging from their necks, with their lifeless bodies of Barry and Honey Sherman. At first, it wasn't immediately clear that they were dead. The couple's fully clothed bodies were arranged in bizarre, semi-seated positions. As CBC reported, one of the agents said she initially thought the Shermans were doing some weird yoga thing. Eerily, the Shermans appeared to have been posed so that they resembled a pair of life-size sculptures, a male and female figure that the couple had in their basement. Like the sculptures, the couple were seated next to each other, and like the male sculpture, Barry had one leg crossed over the other. Oh my god, in this article there's the pictures of the sculptures, and it's just eerie. It is eerie. At the crime scene near the door between the basement and the garage, real estate agents found Barry's gloves and the house inspection paperwork he had just brought home from the office, suggesting he had made it home but was interrupted by someone. Honey's cell phone was then found in in a bathroom that she infrequently used. Investigators believed she may have run into the bathroom to hide from an assailant. There was no sign of forced entry into the home. However, the Shermans reportedly often left doors and windows unlocked. Indeed, real estate agents found that a basement window and door had both been left open. The day the bodies were discovered, it's possible the perpetrator was familiar both with the layout of the Shermans' home and the couple's habits of not keeping their house secure. Because of the lack of forced entry, the police initially investigated the Shermans' deaths as a possible murder-suicide. They suggested that Barry had murdered his wife, then took his own life beside her. However, an autopsy would quickly disprove this theory. Post-mortem examination showed that both deaths resulted from ligature neck compression, a type of strangulation involving binding or tying. What's more, marks on the Shermans' wrists suggested they had both been bound with zip ties. A pathologist found that Honey had been murdered in another part of the house and that her body was then dragged down to the pool area. After 6 weeks of evidence review, investigators determined that both Honey and Barry Sherman had been murdered. 4 years after the Shermans were found dead, the police released a video of a mysterious figure captured on CCTV on the day of their murders, described as a walking man with an unusual gait. The figure can be seen in the video passing outside the Shermans' home. Unfortunately, this person has never been identified. Were the Shermans bumped off by a competitor in the pharmaceutical industry, by someone seeking vengeance after one of Barry Sherman's many lawsuits, by a family member seeking monetary gain or revenge, or were they perhaps, as some have suggested, murdered in an anti-Semitic hate crime? As the investigation continues, the Toronto police are still pursuing leads in this case of the Shermans' mysterious deaths. Meanwhile, Barry and Honey Sherman's house, which they'd been planning to sell before their murder, was demolished in 2019. This is fascinating. I don't understand how Barry took over the company when it was his uncle and his uncle had children. I don't get why he got I don't know why he got the control, and I don't understand how the fact he screwed over his cousins that had legal right to the proceeds of that business, and then they're the ones having to fork out $300k for his costs. That don't sit right, so it's not right there. But this is mad. I'm just double checking. I just want to double check if it's solved or not. No, it's still unsolved. I mean, it's an interesting case, isn't it? Like, who did it? Like, I mean, clearly they're not short of any motives or any potential. I mean, the list of potential suspects seems to be quite long, so who did it? I want to thank, I believe it was Paula, I don't have my notebook, I think it was Paula who suggested this case. So thank you so much for this suggestion. It's really fascinating. I wonder if we'll ever find out who done it. It's really gruesome that this poor couple really suffered. I mean, by the sounds of it, Barry was no angel, but still, no one deserves to be murdered, and it seems like a really weird situation that then happened. So, thank you so much for this case. And yeah, if anyone else has, or if anyone's got suggestions for cases that they would like to hear about, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. I love doing your comments. I love doing your suggestions. I love making content that you obviously want to watch and are interested in. So yeah, don't hesitate to leave your video ideas in the comments below, and I shall see you guys in my next video.